Good day, folks. I'd like to show you something and discuss something I discovered experimenting here. I wanted to use the mains just as a trigger to control a transistor switch, so I wouldn't have to build the switch. But messing around with my one-wire system, as I realized in some earlier videos, without going directly to the conclusion, it works natively at 60 Hertz as well with one wire without sending any return or even the ground of the electrical. You don't want to do that because it would short it out. So here's my one wire system. I made a little prototype here, and what I got going on is with the one wire system, which goes onto the plus side here, which is going in right here, and these are all 2-diode one wire rectifiers, and they're charging these 3 little capacitors. It's just a prototype, and I've got my switch running at any frequency I want to create a pulse, and the negative is going out to the switch and then pulsing into this very high voltage little transformer here, and I'm getting my pulse no problem. So here's the scope on it now, and this is what we're getting. So because I have capacitors charging up and pulsing it, so I'm getting real amps a second discharges here. So it doesn't matter with the AC trigger because it's a very powerful field, and we don't pay for the magnetization, the field. How this is working, folks, is it's the heavy side component along the wire. We usually neglect it, and that's with also the vector pointing flow. The two work together, and this is usually completely disregarded in electronics and energy systems, but it's there in everything. So we're just literally using it as a one-wire system, no return path, and we're generating current with this. And what I'm getting at is there doesn't seem to be a limit on how much capacitors I could chain. I would just have to make a better PCB prototype and maybe put like 90 of these together, and you would get your, see, as long as I got my spike, that's all that matters, because then I could send this against ground for even a higher potential difference and really charge big capacitors. And you see at these current levels, these spikes at this frequency will charge big capacitors very quick, and it's the discharge mechanism that we get our current. But the point I'm getting at is this is all on one wire, and there's no transformer. It's just pure potential difference, and of course I got my earth ground here doing that in the ground on these in every capacitor, which makes the big difference. I'll show you that. I'll disconnect the ground right down here and look at the meter. Look at the difference. No more ground. Still a voltage coming in though, but it's nothing like when you have the ground. And by the way, if you're playing with mains, don't try and loop it with the electrical ground, because you're just going to create a loop that way. You don't want to do that. It'll probably blow everything up here. Okay, so now we got a ground back connected. So this is a perfect trigger. And of course the switch I'm just testing again. I said it before, this is just for convenience. It takes about 40 milliamps to operate. Once I'm happy with this, with the settings, you could use a 555 that'll go down within 10 to 15 mA. So the trigger is not a problem. So that's what I'm trying to get at, folks, is the electric company already gives us free energy, and a lot of people don't understand how to use it or extract it. So this is a really good method, and of course you don't need to use mains. I'm just showing you because it's convenient. You could use the smallest inverter you can find. 150 watts on the 12-volt battery will do the exact same thing. Now the key lies in how many of these capacitors you got to put together to discharge at amps a second to get your current back. But at a certain point you will get there, because this doesn't drain the input source as it would and on a closed loop. So with that said, I'm probably going to build a professional PCB and get it printed, a few of them, and test with this concept with, you know, you could, I don't want to go too crazy like with 100 capacitors, but maybe 50 or 60 of them, and see how that goes. So again, you could do this with your inverter. It's just the inverter, what I don't like is it takes about, even a small one could take like 5 watts just to idle. This way here, you know, the electric company is already providing the magnetization energy. We're just using the pure potential. So I'm just saying most people already have this, so if you want to experiment, but again, be careful, you know, and don't complete the loop, whatever you do. But this is working very, very nicely. Let's see if I could crank the frequency up. More frequent, higher setting means not bad. Let's go 7. Peaks are dropping there. But yeah, that's it. I would need more capacitors. So what I did with the diodes is I isolated every capacitor so when they discharge, they don't see each other. So that's to gain up on the pulse. Still not bad. I'll try just for the sake of it how high I could go here. Let's try 100. Not bad, still peaking. Let's try, and those capacitors really flunk around with the frequency, with the ping pong. They want to oscillate at their own natural. As you can see, it doesn't really match in this mode. All those transients, you can actually see the self-oscillations in the background here. Okay, so let's bring it up. And we're just pulsing at 2%, which is great. So what are we getting there? Not bad. This is working probably better than I thought it would, folks. Let's bring it up to 339. Yeah, those caps are really holding the discharge. Nice. Okay, how about... It's getting pretty quick there. Still not bad. Huh. But those diodes seem to be really messing with the frequency. It's getting high there. Let's see how high we could go, because at a certain point those capacitors won't be able to keep up. We have to find the sweet spot. Basically, I usually do all this before doing the video, folks, so I just want to show you a little bit of the background here. So still 5. Yeah, we're getting there. We're gonna get 1K. Not bad. Let's get 1K. Oh my goodness. You know, I'm surprised it's holding. That's working very well. They're re-gauging very good with pure potential. And that's the key. You gotta pulse them. You know, on this energy on its own won't even run an LED. But it'll charge capacitors no problem, and you just got to find a mechanism to discharge them and you're good to go. And this is why it might be deceptive, because some people who experiment who say, oh look, I found 10 volts on this 1 wire system, let's put an LED, and then nothing happens, you just move on. But they didn't see they had the jackpot right in front of them all along. Hey, it's still doing very good. 2K now. Hey, still peaking at high voltage, my goodness. Well, medium voltage. This is just an example, just an experiment, a test. So let's try 5K. And this is meaning a lot now at these voltages. They'll charge caps, and man, this is enough to kill you once you discharge them. Let's bring it up to 7.29K. Oh, we're starting to drop there, 450. Maybe there'll be a resonant point further up. Oh, like exactly. It goes down now and then it goes up. There's a point that's pretty good. And that's at 8K. Wow. So there's resonant points too. See, as I bring it up, it goes down and then up. I'm going to tune it back up. It's going down now, but we're getting pretty high. Let's see what we can get out of it. Probably find another sweet spot. Seems to be going down now. Yeah, nothing anymore. See that? 17K out to lunch. So the best was down here. Let's find a good spot. Oh. Sometimes it's very sharp. Hard to find the resonant point. Tesla used math. Ha ha ha. I know. There we go. And that's at around 8K seems to be the prime here, which is really good, you know. We're not spinning the meter here, and we could discharge these caps. I'm already doing it through the transformer. I'm wasting it now because I'm just showing to you on the scope what I'm getting on the output side. But the point is to use this to charge high voltage capacitors, and then another, I guess, 555 to dump that into a transformer or load or whatever, charging batteries. The sky is the limit, folks. It's just how far you want to take it. And that's all it is. One wire coming out from here, going there. And that's another thing I'm going to work on here in the next little while. I want to see if I could use it to drive by hydrogen. So I could maybe get some extra wattages with the water. So that's in the works. But for first, I just wanted to see how this works here. And this will work well as well with my one-wire high-frequency generator ideas, the ion valve and the magnetic triode tube. So again, just prototyping some control boards here and different methods to drive the input. Inverter, mains, your own high-frequency generator, a Tesla coil, your own joule teeth. It goes on and on and on. You drive it with one wire, and then you have all your caps with your two diodes, one wire system. Isolate them all with diodes and then discharge them with a switch, and that's how you get your amps a second discharges. I use small capacitors here just for the test, but it really helps at keeping it going at high frequency. Like I said, can light up an LED with this energy on its own, but the capacitors will convert the displacement current and give you real amps a second, because this is what it is. It's displacement current against the true potential from the ground. And it's that displacement current is completely neglected. But we could use this to make electricity. And in part, every home that has service already has the trigger for free if you know how to wire your stuff. Or you had the means and the parts and the know-it-alls. But is it really worth it at the end? Is it easier to just plug in and use that, or do all this and spend, hundreds of dollars just to get maybe 25 to 100 watts? It will all depend on your capacitors, Microwave capacitors cost a lot of money, so in theory is one thing, just like the Bedini device, right? $4,000 to build, and you're lucky it gets a couple hundred watts. It's great and everything, but cost-wise is just not practical to build it. So if someone knows a way of doing this on the cheap, it is a way to go for sure. So I hope you enjoy, and again, looking forward to all your comments.